Within this video, I am going to be sharing with you guys how my first investment deal actually changed my life. This was the first deal that I did with an investor, and literally it was my first investment. I had bought a couple of other properties, the one I was staying in, the farm that we had, and another property that we had as a holiday thingy. Yeah, you can hear I'm calling it a thingy because it was all a liability, not an asset. And within this video, I'm gonna share with you my first investment deal that literally changed my life to who I am today. Because even though I'm an author now, I write books and I'm here on YouTube and I do all sorts of things in business, but I owe it all to my first investment deal because it literally changed my life and how I see things. Now, I want to give you guys a backstory of how actually did I get to this investment deal, right? So back in the days, I was an employee just like you, and I was trying to figure out what is it that I can do to bring in a little bit more cash onto my books, right? And I tried so many things. I tried car rental. I tried selling chickens. I tried not selling chickens, but I was actually rearing chickens and growing them. I lost quite a lot of money. And over and above that, I also did a little bit of selling of diapers. I sold eggs as well at some point. I did quite a few things until the one day I went into a class. And within this class, they were teaching about real estate, and I started learning and learning and learning. After that, I decided, let me go and practice what I've learned. A lot of people, they go out into seminars and things like that, and when they get out, they do not go and practice. Hallelujah! I was able actually to go out and practice it. And had I not practiced it, I would have never gotten through to my first investment deal that then changed my life to whatever that you see. Everything that I do right now, I owe it all to this first investment deal that I did. So how did I get to this first investment deal? Well, after school, I started looking for property investments. Yes, not just any property. I understood how to buy a property, but I didn't know how to find an investment. So I went out to look for opportunities, and eventually at roundabout deal, I'm gonna call it, I don't think I should call it a deal because at that time it wasn't a deal. Let's just call it an opportunity. Roundabout in opportunity number 63, somewhere there, I've been looking, and I've been calculating numbers. I've been looking for opportunities, but at number roundabout 63, I found the one that my coach then said, this is a good deal, a good opportunity, right? And what was that opportunity? I had seen this property listed a 2-bed, 1 bath, and I'd seen it listed for around about 390, okay? 390,000. I eventually bought this property for 160,000 rand, okay? 160. And out of the 160, I went on to renovate it over the weekend, literally over a weekend. We renovated that place for around about 50,000. And whilst we finished renovating it, we got a tenant that was paying 5,500 on the same property. And over and above, we later sold the same property for around about 410,000. If you've been following the numbers, is that a good deal? Yes, it was. But I just didn't start off by getting a deal like that one. I had gotten through to round about 63 opportunities that I went to see, and some that I didn't even number, but I couldn't get the right deal. So by the time I got to this one, when my coach endorsed it, I didn't have any money of my own money, so I literally said to my coach, how best can I do this? I had 1,000 rand with me within the next 30 days, and I put in a deposit of 1,000 rand, and my investor ended up coming through and he gave me 159,000 plus the 50,000 that we ended up doing together, and we went into a JV together on a 50-50, and we did that deal. It's a good deal. Is it? In the comments, let me know what you think of the deal. But if the deal is not making sense to you, well, you're allowed to rewind it, and you can also just jump in to understand it a little bit further. Whilst you're rewinding it, get a pen and paper together and write these things so that you can see whether this is a good deal. But here is what this first investment deal taught me, and then actually changed my entire life in doing a business. Had I not gone out to look for these opportunities, I would have never gone through to get this deal. So this particular deal, it actually made me to understand how to look for opportunities. Remember, this was deal number 63. So I'd been looking, and I had been putting all of these deals together. And above putting them together, what do I mean by putting them together, which is point number 2, is that whilst I was putting them together, I was doing the numbers. So not only did I start to understand how to look for opportunities, but I also now started to understand how to do numbers so that whenever I am buying a property, I am able to see that I am making profit or loss. What's the whole point of buying a property when you can actually not making a profit? You're making a loss, or you're just going to subscribe to the bank, subsidizing to the bank for someone else to live in your property. I don't do that. I don't like doing that. But that's what it taught me. So my first investment deal, that's what it taught me. The other thing that it taught me within this deal, and that went on to change my life, is that I learned how to negotiate. So all the time that I was going through all the other deals, from number 1 all the way to 62, I was negotiating and I was getting no's, plenty of no's. And at some point I got a yes. And when I started getting yes, ladies and gentlemen, the yes continued. Poof. Yeah, they continued. A lot of them, they continued. And that's how I managed to build different businesses that you may or may not know of. But that's how I got into my first deal. And that's why I say to you guys, my first investment deal literally changed my life. But it didn't stop there. I went on actually to start understanding how to work with the investors. Why do I say that? I didn't have any of my own money other than the 1,000 rand that I had. So for that reason, I told my coach that this is my predicament. And he said that I might have someone else who might have the money. And yes, I called that person an investor. And that was my first time of working in an investor. I had never worked with an investor before. So after I had done this deal, after I had negotiated, after I had done my numbers, after I had been looking for opportunities, my first investment deal, it changed my life in the way that I started seeing things in terms of working with investors. I had to understand what is an investor. I had to start working with that investor so that we could crack the deal. And literally from there on, it really, literally changed my life, because I've been working with many investors after that. It also taught me how to create a structure. I remember when I met my investor for the first time round, we didn't speak about anything else other than me and him. And then later on, we started talking about how are we going to buy this property. So we went on to actually talk about structures, and within these structures, we were able to put a structure, a company together, and we owned shares. He owned 50, I owned 50, and we put up our structure together and we went out to buy our property. So with that, I started actually now also learning, this is another point, I started learning how to manage investors. Yes, because he had given me the money in the structure. Then I went out to start buying properties, and so I needed to report back to him. So you may be granted some money from someone else, but if you're not working with them, then you may not have a business. Now, over and above this, we needed to do some contracts, obviously for this structure that we're talking about, obviously of us buying the property itself. So basically, the other thing that I learned was how to do contracts. And from that first investment that I did, there's many contracts that I've come and done. There's different contracts that I have seen. Some that are worse, some that are just useless. And I've worked with so many lawyers in between, and some lawyers who are not like, they don't care, they just want to take your money. But out of this, had it not been for my first investment deal that then went on to actually help me over the years now, I do understand the different contracts that are out there. And when I'm doing a deal, I can already start in my head saying, that deal, I can marry it with such a contract. Because if it wasn't for that first deal that I did, I don't think all these other contracts that I've long done would have I would have been exposed to them. I would have not been able to. Here is another thing. Once I bought the property, I went on to look for a contractor, a builder, an architect, a plumber. All of these contractors, I started working with them. And again, you would realize that if you are in the property space, you're going to work with lots of them. And these guys, they come with so many characteristics in them. And had it not been for my first investment deal, I would have never been able to manage all the others because the journey would have never started. Some of you are doing the numbers on that deal, right? And you're saying, looks like you're cash flowing around about 3,000 Rand. It's not a lot of money. But let me tell you something. I would have never been able to get through to manage a business that is just above 100 million Rand had it not been for this first deal. So my first investment deal literally changed my life because later on, a couple of years later, I went on to manage a bigger pool of investors. I went on to raise a bigger money. I went on to get a bigger cash flow. Humble beginnings. That's where it starts from. But here's the other thing. I was employed, like I did mention at the beginning. And had it not been for this property that I started investing with my first investor, basically I would have not been able to understand how to manage a rental property because I'd never done it before. So within this first investment deal, I was able to go out and manage this property. But here is my happy place. My happy place is that out of all of these things that I did in my first investment deal, this is the number one that changed my life. I only put in 1,000 Rand of my own money in here, but I had proceeds coming in all the time on a monthly basis. Yes. And you can call this one here enjoying proceeds of a no money down deal or very limited money. When I started understanding that, I got a shock. When I started understanding that there's this thing that is called passive income, I started questioning how much I was getting from my investment. Yes, my first investment deal. Now I understand why I'm saying that my first investment deal changed my life, isn't it? Yes, because with that now, on this side of the fence, I am getting plus minus 3,000 Rand that I'm getting passive income. Of course, I am doing a little bit of work. I'm going to check in on the property and things like that. But I am, let's say, getting paid 20 grand at my employer, 20,000, right? And I'm going in every day, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock for this 20 grand. And I started looking at, how many more properties do I need to buy to get to my 20,000? Because right now I'm on 3,000. So that's why you see, I tell you that my first investment deal changed my life. Because before that, I wasn't thinking about that. Before this first investment deal, I didn't think that you could actually find some passive income. So here you are, ladies and gentlemen. You could be thinking, TJ, did it really change your life? 3,000? Really? Yes, it did. Because I started growing a hunger of more. Yeah. And I started getting more investors. I started getting more deals. And I started everything else that I've spoken about here. Doing numbers, negotiating, working with investors, drawing contracts, you name it, managing a bigger portfolio. It all started off with this one property. It did change my life. But now the question that I want to ask of you, my friend, is that if this still changed my life, What is the one deal that you can do that can also change your life? Sometimes we don't see it, or sometimes we're too distant away from it. You can start learning, and from learning, you can learn, and you can start doing it. I've been teaching quite a lot of people now how to do this. In the link below, you can be able to start. And one deal, you are one deal away from also changing your own life. These days, I might even get deals that are making 10 grand, 15 grand cash flow. And some of those deals, I can literally pass them on to you, because that's not the space that I'm in, right? So, as I close this topic that I've been talking about, my first investment deal that changed my life. What is the one deal that can change your life, or what is the one deal that it has changed your life? And if you have a deal like that one, let me know in the comments what that deal was all about. And if you are in the grind, I want to hear from you. So let me know in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the time to subscribe. And so that it can be helpful. It is helpful if you're subscribing. Because once you subscribe and you hit the notification button, the next time I go live or the next time I upload a video, you get to hear it. But the subscription button normally helps me so that I know you are here. You're committed in learning, and it gives me the oomph to also come and teach you some more. It is I, TJ, who will check you out on the next video.